because we use letters. But there's another part to this then. If Chinese words are all one syllable, you don't need syllable stress. You don't need strong and weak syllables. 每个字是一个音节，所以重的跟轻的音节不用 ，right？ 可是英文的字不可以说 outgoing， 不是这样子 ，right？outgoing 不是 outgoing， 不是 outgoing， it's outgoing. This is the important meaning. It's the important sound. So this syllable is stronger. We need a syllable stress. And if you talk to people with the wrong stress, 有可能他们不懂，他们听不懂。Like if I say I'm from Canada, where's Canada? You can probably guess because it's a common word, right? So Canada. But there are a lot of words where if we have the wrong stress, it even makes a different word. How about this one? Is this produce or produce? I guess it's like they're both right, but they're different words. Produce is the verb, produce is a noun, okay? And this is a common pattern for this kind of word. But this doesn't work with all of our words. Doesn't work here, doesn't work here, right? So we need to know something about why this word has that pattern, so we know when to use it. If there's one word, 两个音节，第一个音节中的是名词，第二个音节中的是动词。But we need to know when we can use that pattern, right? So a large part of that is about where the words are from. In Chinese, China is a very old culture, right? Your language is more than 3,000 years old. Your writing is already more than 3,000 years. Where do the Chinese words come from? I mean, Taiwan and China, but do you like to take words from other languages? 中文有很多的日文的字. That's really hard to say. Does Chinese have a lot of Japanese words? A lot? A lot? There are a couple, there are a few, but most Chinese words are Chinese. Japanese has a lot of Chinese words, right? But Chinese doesn't like to borrow words from other languages. Most of your words are Chinese. They're from Chinese. If you have a new idea in Chinese, where do you get a word for it? Like, what if you make a machine that can go in your hand? Then you call it a 手机, right? Hand machine. Because it's a machine for your hand, right? Okay, that works. If it's a brain that uses electricity, an electric brain, right? It's a good name. 电脑, it's a very good meaning. It's easy to understand. It's a good way to name things. But it's different from how English works. Because in Chinese, you basically have one language. When you have new ideas and you need new words, they all come from that one language. Okay? But English is not like that. First, English is a lot younger, but also, now not everybody has the same numbers here, but in general, 1/4 of English words come from German, or Germanic languages, languages like German, okay? 1/4 is from French, 1/4 is from Latin. English isn't on there anywhere. Because English isn't like Chinese. It's not one language. Okay? So, have you ever heard of this before? 你有听过吗？英文有那个多的不同的语言，你有听过吗？ You mean yes, you've heard it, or yes, you haven't heard? You heard about that? So, what else do you know about this? If you know something about this, then maybe we can ask a couple questions to find out more. Well, where does English come from? If we understand something about where English words come from, then maybe it can help us with a problem like this. 这个 CH 有什么音？ Church. So CH here is ch. Cash. So it's a sh sound. K, right? The X there is a sound. This is loch. So one spelling, CH, and we have 4 different sounds. Because 发音跟拼法没有关系，有英文的发音，有英文的拼法，它们都没关系。Is that right? No, of course not. Of course they're related. We spell our words based on the sounds. 发音跟拼法有很重的关系， right? But then why do we have this? Do you hear anything about that? No? Okay, well, let's get into that. Before English, you know there were people in England before we had English, right? You remember English is maybe only 1,500 years old. So, before 1,500 years ago, there were people in England, but they didn't use English. So, their languages, these were what we call the Celts or Celts. They were the Picts, Gaels. You notice this word here? Does this look like any word you know? British. You know, 英国人叫什么名字? British, right? Or Great Britain is another name for that country. So that word is a very old word. It's from before English. From this language, we have a couple names of places. There are some, like York, you know, like New York in the States, right? New York is named after York in England. There's a lot of places like that in America. They hate England. They tried to make their language different, but half of their places are named after English cities, right? So you have New York, New Hampshire, New everything, because the old one is in England. We have some names from these languages, but mostly these languages are all dead. We have some names for people, like this one here. There are 2 L's at the beginning. Does English have other words like this? At the beginning of the word, we have 2 L's. Yeah, no? If we look it up in a good dictionary, we'll find a couple words, male and woman, because it's not from English. It's from this other language, which is really old. But if you think English is hard, because English has really long words, right? This is Welsh. It's from those really old languages. This is one word. Anybody want to try to say it? 一个字. the meaning is something like the Church of Saint Mary in the forest by the river with the red banks. I forget the rest of it, but that whole meaning is in one word in that language. So if English were from England, this is what it would look like today. So English is actually pretty easy compared to what it could be, right? 我们的英文是比较简单. Okay, so before we had English, we had that. And who are the Romans? You know Latin, right? 拉丁文是谁用的? How do we say Romans in Chinese? Yeah, right? Where is that today? Where is the city of Rome? 它在哪里? Where is Rome? It's in Europe somewhere. It's not in Spain. It's not in Greece. Oh, come on, guys. This is in Italy. Rome is in Italy today. Right? You guys didn't know that? You need to know something about the other countries in the world, right? So, Rome, where this empire started, it's in Italy today. All right, Italy, right? So, the language of Italy is very similar to Latin. 意大利文是跟拉丁文很像，可是意大利文比较简单。Okay, Italian is a very easy form of Latin. But what happened a long time ago, you know, the Roman Empire was very big, very strong, right? Before the Romans, there were the Greeks. How do you say Greek? Greek? Shila, all right? Shilawan. So we had the Greek Empire, Greece, and when they died, when their empire fell, we had the Latin Empire. The Roman Empire, all right? The Romans